Hi everyone, this is Allison. Sorry I couldn't be there today, but I still wanted to take a little bit of time to show you this tech tool, which is called Formative. This is one of my favorite tech tools, so I think you're really going to like it. It's exactly what it sounds like. Formative allows teachers to create formative assessments that students can quickly answer, and it instantly provides the teacher with information about the student's understanding. And then it also gives the student instant feedback so that they can monitor their own learning. So this can be used for homework. So then when students come in the morning, you already can see who understood last night's assignment and who didn't. It can be used as a closing activity at the end of a lesson to gauge students' understanding of that lesson, or it can be used as an opening activity, which is my favorite way to use it, to split kids up into groups based on their level of understanding. So it's a great way to personalize and differentiate your instruction for the day. So we're going to start off by going to the website, which is goformative.com. Now, Formative is available as an app, but it's on Apple devices. So we're going to be working today through the website, which is very easy to use. So again, that is goformative.com. When you get to this website, you are going to sign up using this blue button here at the top right corner. I already have an account, so I am going to log in, and I'm going to type in my credentials here. And there we go. So when you create your account for the first time and you first log in, you are not going to have anything here in the middle of your screen because you have not created any formatives yet. So up here at the top, this tab is where you would go to see any formatives that you have created. This tab right here is classes, and I want to talk about that for a moment because we as elementary school teachers are never going to use this tab. This is where you can go to create classes that students can then join. The reason we are not going to use this is because based on Formative's privacy policy, students cannot create accounts unless they are at least 13 years old. So since that does not apply to any of our students, and students need to create accounts to be able to join classes, we are not going to be creating classes and asking our students to join classes. There is, however, another option for students to be able to answer our formative assessments, and that's what I'm going to be showing you. So you are going to start under this Formatives tab, and you are going to click this green button to add a new formative. So first thing we're going to want to do is give this formative a name. I'm just going to call it Thursday's quiz. And I want to add a question. So I'm going to click this bouncing plus sign in the middle of the screen. Pretty self-explanatory. And then I have two options. I can add some content or I could add a question. So if I'm adding content, the biggest ones to look at, the easiest ones to look at are adding an image, adding some text, or adding a video. So if I'm adding content, these are things that will be available to the student to refer back to as they're answering the question. So for example, if I wanted to add an image to my formative, I'm going to choose a file from my computer, and I am going to insert this map of the United States as an example. So this would mean that the student has the option to view this map, and then I want to add a question about the map. So I'm going to ask a multiple choice question. Here, I will type in my question, which state is located west of Georgia? So I'm going to put in some options. Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, or Tennessee. All right, So students would be able to look at this map and then go down here and answer the question. I need to indicate which of these answers is the correct answer so that it will auto score it for me. So Alabama is going to be the correct answer for that question. And as we're continuing to add content and questions to our formative, notice that up here it says auto saved. So anything I do every few seconds, formative automatically saves it. So there's no save button. And if for some reason you were to get kicked out, which has never happened to me, but let's say the internet goes down or you accidentally, close out of your window, something like that, all of your work is automatically saved within your account. So you don't have to manually save anything. So again, students would see this map, they would read the question, they could refer back to the map and answer the question. So then I'd like to add something else. Now I could just add a multiple choice question. I could just add a short answer question if I wanted to. I could add a true false question. But let me show you this show your work question. So if there is ever a time that you want students to write out their work, to draw something, to label something, they would do it here with show your work. So here's an example of how you might use the show your work question. So if I select a show your work question, I am going to choose the background that I want for that type of question. So right now it's just a white background. And I might say, work out the following problem. 45 divided by 2. So my background is just white, so students would just be working that out on a white background, which might work for this type of a question. Or I could change my background and I could insert an image and I could add a blank map of the United States. Okay, I'm done. That's all I want to add. And I could say, label the state of Georgia. Or let's make it a little easier. Where is the state of Georgia? Okay. So when we always have the option as we're creating this formative to preview our formative, and this shows us what it looks like for students. So I'm going to hit this preview button. Obviously, we can see what we've created so far. We can see that we put a map in there, and then we asked a question based on that map. And then we have a show your work question. Where is the state of Georgia? Students would click on that. And they have all these options over here on the left-hand side as to how to manipulate this image. So they can draw a circle and circle the state of Georgia. There it is. Undo, well, erase that. Hit my eraser and just kind of swipe over my circle and it's gone. They could insert some text anywhere on the image. So I'm just going to click right here and put the letter G. And I've shown you where the state of Georgia is. So I could, show you that way. Again, I'm going to click my eraser and just kind of swipe over that to get rid of it. So it's very easy to do, very user-friendly. You can always just click this circle right here, choose the size that you want to draw, and I could just, well, I thought I could. Maybe it's this line button. There we go. We've got to choose our size and then select the pencil, which is right here. And then I can kind of outline my state of Georgia if I want to do it that way. Again, I'm just going to erase that for the time being. I'm going to say I'm done. Okay, so that's what it looks like for students. Another thing you can do, if I'm going to add something else to my formative, I mentioned that you could add a video if we're adding content. So it tells me that I can paste a YouTube video right here. So I'm going to open another window in YouTube, and this is an instructional video showing students how to multiply two-digit numbers, just as an example. So if I wanted to, I could take this URL and paste it right here, update, and now students have a video to refer back to help them answer the question. So you could either do a flipped classroom where students, for homework, open up this formative. They have a video to learn how to do something new, and then they have a few questions about it. Or maybe this is something you taught in class today, but just in case the kids get stuck, you are adding this video that they can refer back to help them remember how to do this. So I put my video there, and then I'd like to ask a question about that video. I'm going to choose a short answer question. I don't want to give students options. I'm going to ask them, what is 22 times 2? I'm just going to add a correct answer right here. I'm going to type in what the correct answer is. So the correct answer is 44. Oops. Correct answer is 44. So I like using short answer questions with math because the answer is just a number. Now, if you're doing short answer and the answer is a name, you could do that, but it's a little harder because if students spell that word wrong, then it's going to mark it as wrong. Now, you as a teacher can go back and change it and give them credit for it, but it just takes a little bit of time. So I could say, who was the first president? And I could say, okay, correct answer is, George Washington. And then I could add a few correct answers. And I could say, well, if they wrote, it's glitching on me a little bit, George Washington, I could say, okay, they could also type it in not capitalized. But again, there's still a little room for error there, so I tend to just use the short answer when the answer is something like a number that is hard to mistype or type multiple ways. So again, what is 22 times 2 is my question. I'm going to say that the correct answer is 44. Okay. So again, I can keep adding videos. I can add text right here. So this is not a question. This is just text if you want to remind your students of something as they are going through the question. So you might say, remember that today in class we talked about adding a 0 as a placeholder after you divide, or whatever it is you talked about in class that day. So if you just want to add some text to remind students of something or to give students a hint as they're going through the questions, you can add content and just add a text box. Or as we've seen, you can add an essay question. An essay question would be something that you as the teacher would need to go back in and score yourself. Obviously, this program cannot automatically score an essay for you, but it can automatically score multiple choice questions, multiple selection questions, short answer, show your work. You'd have to go in and score that yourself. True, false can be automatically scored as well. So those are all of our options. And we've kind of tested out and played with a few of those. So once you've added in all the questions that you want, like I said, this is automatically saving everything for you. So you do not have to manually save it. So once I'm happy with everything I've done, as you can see here at the top, I'm currently in edit mode. Well, now I'd like to go ahead and share this with my students because I'm done with it. Now, like I said, our students cannot create accounts and join classes. So we're not going to be adding any classes. We're going to have our students answer our formatives as guests, which still works very well. So let me just show you how that works. I'm going to choose guest students, and it gives me some options. It gives me options for how I want to return students' scores to them. So I can choose that they can instantly get their score, which I like to do. You can also choose after I go in and end the session, then students can see what their score is. So maybe you want to wait and make sure everybody answers all the questions and everybody submits, then you can end the session, at which point students will all see their scores. Or you can choose that they are going to get their score as soon as they hit that submit button. So that's the one I like to do. I'm assuming instantly means as soon as they put in an answer before submitting, it tells them if they're right or wrong. So the one I like to do is this one right here. After they submit, they can see what their score was. And then it's going to say, when do you want to return the correct answers to the students? So they're going to see their score, but when are they going to see what the correct answers were? After you end the session or as soon as they submit? I'm going to say once they submit, they're going to be able to see their score and what they got right and wrong. But again, you could choose once everybody has submitted, I'm going to go in and end the session, at which point we can all see the correct answer. So that's up to you based on what you're doing in class that day. So I'm going to assign this. And then, because I chose guest, it's going to give me this code for students to be able to use to answer my formative. So very simple, 2 steps. They're going to go to goformative.com/join, and they're going to enter this code. And then it will ask them to enter their first and last name and then answer the questions. So now I'd like to show you what you see as the teacher once students begin submitting their answers. So I'm going to go back home right up here at the top left. And it immediately takes me back to my formatives menu where I can see all the formatives I've created. This is the one I just created right now. This is one I created earlier so that I could show you what it looks like when you have some student responses. So I'm going to open this one up. It's a quiz about multiplication. And when I open it up, I'm automatically in edit mode. So I can change any of my questions that I put in. But what I want to do right now is I want to view the responses from this formative. So I'm going to hit view responses up there at the top. And I have a lot of really good information here. So I have 4 questions in this formative, so I can look at some information by individual questions. So on question number 1, I can quickly see by this bar here at the top what sort of percentage of my students got that question correct, shown by this green bar, and what percentage got it wrong. So I only have 3 students for the purposes of this demonstration, but I can see just by a quick glance that most kids got this one right. Okay, I can see on question number 2, most kids got this one wrong. So I know number 2 is probably something I need to go back over with my class. Again, 3, most kids got it wrong. 4, everybody got that one correct. My bar is completely green, so I don't have to discuss that again. So if you give something like this as homework, like I said, before students even come in for the day, you can take a look and see how did they do on their homework. What do I need to go back over, and what do I not need to waste my time with? Everybody knows that. Also, as you could see, as I clicked on the individual questions, I could then look down at the kids' names and see, okay, Sally and Johnny got that correct. Ellie got it wrong. So everybody got it right except for Ellie. So when kids are working in class today, I need to make sure I go up to Ellie and really go over this with her. I can also look at my totals right here. If I want to look at the results from all the questions on a spreadsheet all at the same time. So I'll see a list of all my students, and I can see a bar for each student that shows me what they got right or wrong. So I can see that Sally only missed number 2. She got 1, 3, and 4 correct. Johnny, his bar is completely green. He got everything correct. And Ellie here missed 1, 2, 3. She only got this one question right. Okay, so this is a real easy visual because it's color coded. It's real simple to see pretty quickly who did well and who didn't. And then, of course, it tells you right here 1 out of 4, 3 out of 4, and 4 out of 4. I could also choose this option right here and hide the names if I wanted to project this and show it on my board to all the students. Say, okay, this is how we did on this quiz. We could look at individual questions together and say, most people got this one right. It looks like, most of you struggled with number 2. But everyone got number 4 correct. So if you wanted to discuss this information with your class, you could hide their names. And then when you're ready to look at it again, you can show those names again. You also have the option to export this information, but it looks like you cannot export with the free version. So we will not worry about that right now. Anyway, it gives teachers, a lot of really valuable information. Like I said at the beginning, my favorite way to use Formative is to give it as a warm up at the beginning of a lesson and then say, all right, if you got 4 out of 4 correct, you're going to work in the gold path today, which means you're ready to move forward. If you got 3 out of 4 correct, you're going to work on the silver path today. And if you got less than 3 correct, then you're going to sit at the back table with me and work through the bronze path. So you can have different activities set up. Kids come in, they answer their 4 questions, they immediately know what to go work on. So that's your overview. Certainly, please email me, stop by my office, let me know what other questions you have about this. Please let me know how else I can help you with using Formative. I can come during your planning and help you set up some formatives, show you, go back over some of these features with you individually or with your team. I'm very happy to come into your classroom the first time you use it, just to sort of be an extra set of hands to help kids make sure they know what they're doing. Whatever you need, that is what I'm here for. So thank you hopefully you learned a little bit today, and I look forward to continuing to support you with this in the future. Thanks, everyone. Bye.